welcome back to my channel. So my name is Laveeza. I'm currently graduated as a doctor, but I haven't fully started my junior doctor yet. So I'm gonna call myself a doctor, but you know, haven't really started yet. Anyway, after that rambling intro. So today I thought I could go through the top 10 apps that I used during my medical school, apps that I found like absolutely essential, really useful to me, and I thought I could share those with you. So I'm gonna have my phone out with me. So as you can see from my homepage, I usually have a university little folder, and that just helps organize all my apps. I make sure that everything's in folders.
I can't deal with things not being in folders, so
that is just how I work. So the first app that I would like to talk through is the BNF app. So I've currently just updated the app right now. Honestly, this is the most useful app. So if you are a medical student in the UK, we use the BNF as our resource for like drug doses and which drugs that you can use and all the different names and all the different types. And this is one of the most useful apps that you can have on the wards and things when you need to prescribe something, or when you're on placement and you're following around with the doctors or whatever you need to do. It is so useful having this app. If you go into like the summaries, you can see all the different systems there. And if you click stuff like select the cardiovascular system, and then I go into acute coronary syndromes, I can go into overview, it tells me a bit about it. I can go back, go on to like unstable or NSTEMIs. Again, it will tell me a bit more information about it, and then I can click individual medications as well. So if I just go into drugs, go into A, let's choose a nice drug, acyclovir, let's go for that one. I can go into indication and dose, and it'll tell me the exact doses of exactly what I need to use for children and adult, and then I can go on to interactions as well, and have a look about add in some interactions and see how they go. So I can add in different drugs and see if it would cause anything bad. So let's do something that we know. So if you use clarithromycin, and if I add simvastatin, so this is a really bad drug reaction, so I can click, I've typed both of those in, and then it says interaction between these drugs, and I can have a look, and it says in red that it is severe. So the second app that I'm going to talk about is something called MicroGuide. So one of the doctors recommended me this app, and honestly it's been like a life changer ever since someone told me about it. So what this app is amazing for is for each individual hospital. So the BNF is a publication for across the UK, and each individual hospital will have their own guidelines and stuff that they find better. So BNF will give you like a list of antibiotics maybe, or a list of statins that you can use, whereas individual hospital guidelines will tell you what specific statin they might use in hospital and what's the most cost effective for that hospital, what's the best that they've noticed or seen. So if you go onto menu, and I think you have to go into get guides, but obviously I've downloaded the guide, so I'm going to go on my guides, and you can see that I have actually downloaded the Norfolk and Norwich University Hospital, which is where I went to uni. So if I just click that, and I can go into body systems, and again if I go into like GI tract, maybe let's do a C. diff infection. So I know personally that for mild you will use metronidazole, and for like severe C. diff infections you'll use vancomycin. So if I click mild to moderate, it comes up with the exact dose and the thing. So you can see metronidazole 400 milligrams PO is given. So that's first line. Second line will be vancomycin for more severe symptoms. So again, this is just like really specific to your hospital, really good guide to just help you get through. So obviously gonna keep this as a junior doctor as well. 100% need this app, and it's really useful as a medical student when we did placement and stuff. It's just really useful when you're sat with the doctor and you're shadowing them, or you're going on ward rounds and things, to keep on top of your knowledge in terms of like your medications and prescribing and drugs, because in 5th year, I think it's 5th year for most people, you have to do the prescribing exam as well. So it's just really good to keep on top of it and keep practicing as you're going. So the next app that I would like to talk about is actually Quizlet. So basically Quizlet is a flashcard app, so you can have all of like your terms and definitions or your questions, put the answer, go through all the study sets, start quizzing yourself. What I realised in 5th year is, so throughout medical school I wrote a lot of notes, and those are really useful for me. And then what I learned in final year was that I need to actually start testing myself on this like knowledge and notes and things. So that's when I started taking out bits of information and putting them onto flashcards, whereas in first year I used to just like copy and paste loads of text, which just wasn't useful. On Quizlet you can create your own study set, put a title. So again, if I want to put like GI infections, and I'll put like term how to treat, oh can't spell, C. diff, and then it comes up with the flashcards at the top. So again, it says how to treat C. diff, and then I'll turn it over, it says mild metronidazole, severe vancomycin. It's a really useful app for active recall as well, so you're constantly just testing yourself, and that's something that I really feared when I was in medical school. I hated getting quizzed. I did not like it. I hated it when consultants used to like quiz you, and I just didn't want to feel stupid. So, but you know what, you need to get over that fear. It doesn't matter if you get something wrong, it's okay, and the best way to learn is to quiz yourself. You actually know what you don't know and what you do know. So I used Quizlet towards the end in 5th year, so I definitely recommend using that. The next few apps that I'm going to talk about are more about like places that you can get resources for notes and things. So this isn't actually one of my university apps, this is just a generic app, so this is actually YouTube. So on YouTube there are many different channels that go through med notes and things. So a couple of the most important ones that I think are Khan Academy. They go through everything so well. The one thing with like med, sometimes it's really hard to sort of read your notes and visualize it at the same time and remember it. So if you're a very visual person, stuff like Osmosis, Khan Academy, Armando does really good physiology videos. So all of these videos are really good and really useful for you to be able to visualize and see everything properly. So highly recommend subscribing to those channels. I used to literally watch Armando's videos, watch them. I used to download his PDFs of the end image that he would make, and I would literally type out word for word what he said and put it in my notes. It was just so useful. Same with like Khan Academy and Osmosis, I would literally type out what they were saying, so I had it written down in my notes as well, and it was like a transcript and I can just watch and read at the same time. And I used to just rewatch these videos. It was probably one of the most like useful things. So the next app that I would like to talk about is also Inkling. So along with using YouTube videos and things, there's lots of textbooks that you would also need. I'm currently making a video on the top recommended textbooks that I would recommend for medical students, so make sure to watch that video when it comes up. So subscribe to my channel and hopefully it will be coming soon. One thing that I do recommend is when you buy these textbooks, usually they have a code, and things like Kumar and Clark's, Medical Sciences, these kind of books, they're all by the Inkling group, I think is what they're called. So if you download the app Inkling, you can actually use the code at the front of your textbooks and download your textbooks online onto your app. So when you search something really quickly, you don't actually have to have your book with you. You can just search it through the library or search it through the actual book, and that's what I recommend doing as well. So if you can buy like online versions of textbooks or PDFs and things like that, that is so much better for me, because then you can Control F and actually search things that you want instead of taking these textbooks to the library and then having to like literally hand search through everything, like go through a table of contents. It's just way too long. So it's so easy to have just all your books on your phone on an app. Another thing that I would recommend is an app called PassTest. So there are two big companies that I'm aware of anyway. So that's PassTest and Pass Medicine. These are both sort of like question banks. I buy both. I buy PassTest and Pass Medicine. Pass Medicine doesn't have an app, but you can just log in on your Google Chrome or Safari and use that. PassTest do have an app. Currently I don't have a subscription because obviously med school finished for me, so I don't have a subscription, but I can go onto the App Store and show you. You can just see that it will have a question, it'll have a list of multiple choice answers. You pick, tells you if you're right and wrong, and then it has, what's really good about these two websites is that they have explanations at the bottom. So it goes through lots of explanation and exactly why each answer is right, why each answer is wrong. Really useful to know. It helps you with your learning. Again, active recall. Also, it helps with like spaced repetition. So some of these questions, the concepts will keep repeating. So it's just really useful. So if you get a question wrong once, it will come up later again. You can actually just search the textbook and get the answers from there as well. So you don't actually have to do the questions to find the answers. You can just search the textbook. So another app that I highly recommend using is the BMJ Best Practice. So the BMJ Best Practice is a really good app. It has a lot of the conditions and the diseases. It'll have case studies as well, so it'll tell you what like a typical scenario is, and that's really useful. Sometimes I feel like remembering diseases is quite difficult, but when you associate it with a patient or a case, it actually becomes a lot easier. So it will go through a case with you, but you can also just access like the clinical features, the diagnosis, the management, and it tells you like step 1, step 2, step 3 of how to do each one. So again, love the BMJ Best Practice app. Really good for just reminders of the clinical knowledge and everything that you need. I think that's the most important thing in med. Like you can get really bogged down when trying to learn the exact details of everything, and honestly the knowledge that you can get in med is just infinity. Like you'll never ever know everything, and that's fine. It's completely fine. It's a concept that I really struggled with, but it's okay. It's just really important, especially when you get to finals, is just to make sure that you know little about a lot. You need to know a bit about everything. There's no point knowing a lot of knowledge about a very specialist topic and not knowing basic knowledge of everything else. So little about a lot is the mantra that I go through with life. So BMJ Best Practice definitely helps with that. Another thing that I would highly recommend is getting like some sort of iCloud, OneDrive, Google Drive type thing. So with these apps, it's actually really useful to have your notes on your phone. Sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes when I'm on placement and I can see where I have written in my notes the fact that I'm trying to remember, and then you just can't remember it, and I can see it in my notes and I'm like, I know which page it's on, but you just can't remember it. And sometimes like Googling and you're just in a rush and you're trying to really work out what this fact is, or trying to really quickly like in between patients search what's happening. It's really useful to have all of your notes on your phone so you can easily just search everything. I didn't do this for a while. I then had computer issues. Honestly, back up your notes. I am so confused by iCloud. I feel like I'm one of those like old people who just doesn't get it. I've had iCloud before, lost certain things, whatever, so I back everything up onto my hard drive and also iCloud, and then I have it on my computer as well. So there's 3 different places now for my notes. In final year, I know, I can't believe this happened to me. My laptop was messed up. It was my fault. What I did, I accidentally deleted one of the files, which was one of the startup files, so my laptop just wasn't working, and the only way to make it work was to reset everything. So I was losing all my notes on my laptop, didn't have iCloud at the time, and my hard drive just wasn't working. It wasn't mounting, don't know what was happening. So within literally a day, lost all my notes almost, and then luckily managed to just literally all night going through my laptop trying to restore it but not delete anything, like just trying to go into like online, try and just re-download the software, and it was so long. I eventually just had to just clear my laptop, which is really sad. So I lost a bit of notes, but luckily I managed to make my hard drive work. I had to like mount it, unmount it, God knows what else I was doing. Like, it was just so much effort to use other people's laptops, and then I think if you use your hard drive on like an Apple software, it gets configured to that, and then you can't use it on a Windows one, or there's some shebang about the hard drives and things like that. So that was a very stressful time. So back up your things onto the cloud, and then if you do back up onto the cloud, it's very useful. You can just have it on your phone, really easy to use, and then it's really easy to search everything. Yeah, sorry for the lighting will keep going in and out, like the sun is setting right now, so golden hour is just going in and out, so I apologise for that. The next app that I really want to talk about is really useful for when you are in lectures and you get handouts. What I would initially do when I started uni was I would just take pictures of them, and it'd be really like rubbish pictures, like slanted and like weird shadows, and the paper wasn't right, and you'd take them at the weird angles, and it just wasn't working for me. So what I did is I found this app called Office Lens. So this is by Microsoft, and this app is so good. So you can currently see my setup right now, and you just point this app at a piece of paper. So I've currently just got my skincare wardrobe here, so I'm just gonna show you an example there. So I'll just take like a really bad picture at like a slanted angle of this moisturizer, and then you can see that it will show you the borders. You can adjust the border, you press done, processes it, and it comes up as like a flat image onto your thing. You can then press done, save it to your photo library or as a PDF, or email it to yourself, and it's all done. And then you can just add it into your notes really easily. So if you put it into your photo library, you can then just airdrop it to yourself onto your computer or your iPad or whatever you're using, and it's really useful. And the last app that I would like to talk about isn't actually fully study related. Whilst you're in medical school, you are gonna have to wake up at ridiculous times, either to study, sometimes to go to placement, just in general you'll be waking up at like crazy times. And I did not believe this app, to be honest. When people told me about it, I thought, no, doesn't really work. Downloaded the app because I got forced to, and honestly changed the way that I sleep. So it's called Sleep Cycle. What it does is you set the time that you want to be awake. So currently this is 10 o'clock right now. Don't really wake up at 10 o'clock, whatever. So it says 10 o'clock, I have set it for a 20-minute interval, so between 9:40 and 10 o'clock, the app will best wake me up. This app, what it tries to do, it detects like your breathing patterns, and it can tell when you're awake or starting to wake up, and that's when it will set off the alarm. Before I used to wake up really tired, I used to hate it, now I wake up refreshed, genuinely every single day. So that is all of the apps that I recommend for medical students. So those are my top 10 apps. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope that you will like, subscribe and comment down below. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye guys.